Hey Sapiens! Lars von Trier is definitely one of the most controversial modern directors. At least I don't remember the same person who could make me feel so uncomfortable and pressured while watching his creations. Anyway, he knows how to do the job, and Melancholia is a brilliant example of that. Beware spoilers and cheap philosophy, Foltrum with ya, and here we talk about stories. Melancholia was released in 2011 and created by Danish director Lars von Trier, mostly known for some kind of art house pictures. The filmmaking technique he invented with his friend and partner was called Dogma 95. It should have been concentrated on close-up picture shooting and recognizable camera trembling, using mostly natural light and color palettes. However, he got a lot of critique because of frauding his own technique. But that's not the case, because his movies have a special charm, even if the delivery road is winding and complicated. Special ingredient is entertainment due to discomfort. Trier said by himself that movies shouldn't entertain viewers at all, but it should make them feel challenged and offended. The Melancholia movie shows us a story of two sisters, Justine and Claire. Plot is separated into two chapters by their names, to show different viewpoints, problems and attitudes. The opening scene leads us through the 9-minute length art picture, beautiful and very satisfying for your aesthetic hunger, but a very slow pace may push the viewer away. That works specifically well to understand the vibe and get the general rhyme of the picture. From the beginning we are told that something apocalyptic is gonna happen. The movie is driven by a tedious slow tempo, creating not anxiety but fatigue. So it starts with Justine at her wedding. Her intimate problems are shown like a mosaic, piece by piece. It leads us to slowly follow how it reveals. Only after almost 30 minutes, everything becomes more or less clear. Justine is chained by a heavy depression which no one cares about. We can see how badly she deals with it, trying not to break things down. She imitates a smile, mimics the crowd, but it doesn't work. No one understands, no one empathizes, no one cares. The reasons for that are different. Her mom seems to be some type of misanthropic postmodernist person who is tired of her life. She would better offend people and go away than keep the conversation she doesn't care about. Her father is just an all volatile kind of playboy. He doesn't care about the happening, but tries to entertain himself as much as possible. Justine's request for emotional support with a simple talk was ignored. He left without any mention. Parents are pretty similar even if they are shown from different perspectives, like antipodes, embittered mother and senseless father. Both, however, are tied with no compassion about their daughter Justine. Claire and her husband John are in the same field as parents. They feel upset about Justine's behavior but also have no true empathy for her. John, who organized the wedding because he spent a lot of money. Claire because of her underestimated efforts. It seems like she honestly cares, but that's only a mirroring effect of her own problems, which we will cover further. Even Justine's future husband Michael is totally ignorant about her state of mind. He feels happy and doesn't understand what's wrong, or doesn't want to. The same self-concentrated person with no insight. They don't even look like a couple besides physical affection. John's speech feels cute and sincere, though it's absolutely straight. He has nothing to say, because there is no real reason for them to be together. No connection, no emotional, no, as we will see after, physical. They are strangers together, nothing more. And it all goes extremely slow, spiced by cringe. The darkest type of cringe when it hurts, waking up the first stage of disgust and deep disturbance. Wizard card of Lars von Trier. Every active character has a specific type of flaws, like puzzle pieces that build up the whole picture. The most remarkable moments include Justine's boss, who brings his company interests at the wedding trying to get a tagline from her as an advertiser. The timeline is full of uncomfortable details showing us how people are driven by their routine lives, seeing nothing but themselves. And even themselves are warped and distorted in their own eyes. Justine appears outsider on this holiday of life, which was supposed to be her day. She takes many naps, a long walk, bath, and even sex with a trainee who was sent by her boss to get that fluffing tagline. Of course, it all goes out of control. Emotional disruption forces Justine to tell her boss everything she thinks about him. After that, everything is over. Boss and her almost husband Michael leave. As I get it, they were not even engaged. It's just over without explanations. Then we go to the second part of the movie, shown from Claire's perspective. Now Justine's depression broke her down and Claire is taking care of her. At this point we finally hear about Melancholia, the planet that should fly by Earth. We see how Justine suffers from depression on a physical level, how Joan feels uncomfortable about her presence, and how Claire deals with it all. And this is a brutally important moment that can fade away, blurred by Justine's depression, because the second main mental disorder this movie shows us is anxiety, and that's why the second part even exists and is called Claire. We already saw the same metaphor for their parents, represented as antipodes. So, does this work? Two different poles of one problem. That's why it's called melancholia, not depression. Disorders are separated into two parts as the movie, two secular areas of equal problem. If to be more specific, Justine's major depressive disorder and Claire's general anxiety disorder. And a lot of side characters exist like overlays for the whole pattern of the picture. The movie visualizes pieces of melancholia, the illness and temperament transformed into the disease. The slow, tedious tempo of the film feels just like the ailment of a mental disorder that is nominally torn apart. Justine's depression affects her physically, making inert, weak and passive, leaves no chances to struggle against the exhausted body and mind. On the other hand, anxiety strikes Claire more sneaky and mentally. She cares about everything, slowly observing how it all breaks down inside her mind step by step, making her explode in the end. Moving in a chaotic way of overthinking, panic and deep disturbance. The movie looks and feels fully bound to its name, grotesquely melancholic on all fronts, cut and separated in halves. It is such a hard and tough picture to watch because it is a visual incarnation of the mental disorder. Stretched, choking, disturbing. Rising stacks every second, even if you cannot see it. We get information about melancholia after more than an hour of watch time, and it doesn't change the tempo. Joan persuades Claire that the planet will fly by. Meanwhile, Justine doesn't give a fluff about it. Claire's son is excited, while Claire is terrified. Even though her worries about the planet intensifies, she keeps her life pace, accumulating anxiety. While Justine starts to feel better, diluting in her illness because of sharing it with Claire. A sudden supernatural moment has no sense at first glance, but if you consider that as a part of the disorder, it works just perfectly. The last important fragment we had at the beginning, collapse that shows us how the disease ends. I find the last scene very indicative, when two parts of the whole problem, driven by little strikes of side characters, unite. It leads to a catastrophe. That's why everything in the movie looks like the pieces of huge mosaic. The enormous pattern of melancholia visualized in the movie. The anamnesis of the whole illness to offend and disturb viewers and reveal how badly it can end if nobody cares about no one. At least that's what I saw after a long time of overthinking about this movie, and I hope you have some new thoughts about it too. You know what to do if you enjoyed the video. All those bells, likes, subscriptions. Love, peace, and see you in the next video, Sapiens. Happy New Year!